News reports came out last week of former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, and President Trump teaming up for a new contract with America. To help us discern the future productivity of this new contract, it's not a bad idea to look back on the success of the last contract with America that Newt rolled out when he was Speaker of the House back in the 1990s. We'll do that in today's episode of Analysis Behind the News, where we provide the perspective and the plan to help restore American liberty and independence. Last week, Politico published an online article that reported, with an eye toward winning back the House and Senate in the 2022 midterm elections, former President Donald Trump has begun crafting a policy agenda outlining a mega doctrine for the party. His template is the 1994 Contract with America, a legislative agenda released ahead of the midterm elections in the middle of President Bill Clinton's first term. And as a cherry on top, he's teaming up with its main architect, Gingrich, to do it. President Trump seems to have a hard time finding true conservatives he can trust. His administration was constantly churning through people. This is a testament to the reach of the ubiquitous deep state that managed to obfuscate and largely derail Trump's America First agenda. Given the deep state's many years of being entrenched in the bureaucracy and its prevalence within the establishment of both parties, it's easy to see how quickly an agenda that is antithetical to globalism can be stalled and subverted. The relevant question today is, can Trump trust Gingrich? Mr. Gingrich served in the House of Representatives from 1979 to the end of 1998. In his roughly 20 years of service to the people of the 6th District of Georgia, he became a conservative leader, swearing an oath to the Constitution over and over again. You would expect his voting record to reflect a high adherence to the Constitution. From 1979 to the end of 1985, the Review of the News, which is or was a John Birch Society weekly publication, produced a conservative index, which scored those in Congress according to their adherence to the Constitution. When Review of the News was morphed into the New American in 1985, the New American then produced the Conservative Index, eventually renaming it the Freedom Index. During his first two terms, Representative Gingrich scored relatively high in the 80s and 90s. Then it slowly dropped away until 1987, when it came back up, but came crashing back down in late 1989, eking out 50s and 60s. Once he became Speaker in 1995, his score bottomed out in the 30s and 40s before a slight uptick in 1998. It seemed the longer he was in, the worse he was getting. By July 1st, 1989, the elite globalist group, the Council on Foreign Relations, had invited him to join, and unfortunately, he accepted. According to the New American in 1994, he referred to himself as a conservative futurist. The New American reported he said that those who were trying to define him should look no further than The Third Wave, a 1980 book written by Alvin Toffler. The book describes our society as entering a post-industrial phase in which abortion, homosexuality, promiscuity, and divorce are perfectly normal, even virtuous. Toffler penned a letter to America's founding parents in which he said, "The system of government you fashioned, including the very principles on which you based it, is increasingly obsolete and hence increasingly, if inadvertently, oppressive and dangerous to our welfare. It must be radically changed and a new system of government invented, a democracy for the 21st century." He went on to describe our constitutional system as one that served us so well for so long and that now must in its turn die and be replaced. Gingrich even went so far as to recommend the book as essential reading to colleagues as Speaker of the House. Regarding his contract with America, the New American also reported that this was another of Gingrich's con games that was supposed to be the Republicans' answer to big government, but instead provided a public relations smokescreen to cover various unconstitutional measures that Congress planned to pass under Gingrich's leadership. Yet, as the Cato Institute pointed out, the combined budgets of the 95 major programs that the contract with America promised to eliminate have increased by 13%. It also pointed out over the past 3 years, the Republican-controlled Congress has approved discretionary spending that exceeded President Bill Clinton's request by more than $30 billion. Senior editor to the New American magazine, William Jasper, pointed out in the February 3, 1997 issue, Speaker Newt may have been tremendously effective, but not in the way the Republican faithful expected or intended. He did not articulate, devise, lead, and fight for the kind of return to the smaller, constitutionally limited government millions of voters thought they were getting when they cast their ballots for Republican candidates, brandishing his contract with America in 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, we contend Mr. Gingrich's own record shows he is not a conservative, much less a constitutionalist. The only contract with America elected officials swear an oath to is the U.S. Constitution. No other contracts are needed. And if you think we're being too hard on Mr. Gingrich, take some time to watch our video from 2009 called The Real Newt Gingrich. It's an update we provided to a recorded presentation from 1996. In it, we compare Newt of Georgia's 6th Congressional District to Representative Larry McDonald from Georgia's 7th Congressional District. While Representative McDonald was a Democrat, he cared not which party he was in, but only of adhering to the Constitution. His voting scorecards were much different than Gingrich. McDonald's scores were frequently a perfect 100%, demonstrating the job elected officials are supposed to be doing, upholding their oath to the Constitution regardless of party. We would advise President Trump that he would do much better serving the American people by ditching Gingrich and coming up with a plan to adhere to the constitutional limitations of American government. While the electorate may not have a very good long-term memory, the John Birch Society does. We are the only organization created to oppose the globalist agenda and restore the unique American system of government that protects God-given rights. We use the tools and techniques our founding fathers gave us. So apply for membership today and begin working with others in your area. Links are in the video description. I'm Bill Hahn for the John Birch Society. Until next time, stay informed, stay active, and be bold, Patriots.